Hello and welcome, Crypto Day Morning for today, Saturday, 29th of September, 2018. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. All trades, bets, and of the like within one's own risk reward. It's really hard to get a grasp of the market directions when you get indecisive patterns and when you're making lower highs like it obviously is making. And you could say it's making higher lows in the recent time frame, and that's notwithstanding the fact that over the last year it's been basically lower high matching low, lower high matching low, yada yada yada. Within the 400-minute time frame, really choppy, as you have since the move down in here. A decent sized rally, this little choppy action in here, up to this high, to this low, to this high, to this low. But it's doing it within an uptrend for both the highs and the lows, at least within the recent term time frame. But I want to focus mainly amongst the altcoins. And we'll start off by looking at coin market cap. We've got the coin, the symbol, the market cap price, the supply, the volume, and how much it has moved in the last hour, 24 hours of the last day, and within the last week. And I want to primarily focus within the last week. Bitcoin down 1.43%. And then you got Ethereum down 2%, Ripple's up 1%, but it's up 9% for the last 24 hours. That's the first altcoin that will be looked at. Bitcoin Cash up 14.75%. EOS is down a little bit. And you got a mixed bag of coins that are up. Stellar with a decent 8% move, but Dash down 6%, but it had a decent rally before that last week. So overall, you're getting, again, a mixed bag. You really can't see too much or any status. Oh, will things be looking good or not? So let's start off within Ripple. I'm going to cross it against Binance Coin, but it really doesn't matter for the most part. It's all going to have the same pattern, whether it be such in Binance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or the US fiat currency. The lines for me represent merely where I'm looking at sell orders and buy orders. I really don't put them in here for that purpose. There's only about a couple codes in here really that I have them on. And well, the pattern, it's just beautiful as far as how I look at it. You have your up move. Okay, that's nice. Then you have, after the sideways consolidation, after the selling, what comes there after that? Well, how it just hangs in there within the 18 average of highs. But this current period, with 51 minutes left, it's late in it, looking pretty good, like it wants to break out above this resistance area. Looking at on a single hour time frame, we can see how it just had its move really quick. 15-minute, we can get the same sort of deal, pretty much. High volume coming in, that's normal when you have a big move higher or lower. Just a lot of people, just a big volume in buying and selling, in this case in buying. But overall, nice looking setup amongst that of Ripple. Moving on to PivX, which we can see here that the level of resistance, roughly around here, has been hit several times, as it hit it there originally on September the 16th, doing so again on 22nd and the 23rd. Came up to this point again on the 27th and is now breaking. And we can see how the 18 average beforehand, moving into a slightly uptrend market. Now it's had a nice little break as far as how this looks in the daily term time frame. This is a spot where you had the waterfall or water slide, I think. It's like when you go to the water slide part, that's what the diagram would be for how it's drawn. And it's just starting to flatten out, really. Here we have POA, the POA network on the daily chart, which we can see here on today's movement. Nice little breakout and it's showing a lot of strength here amongst the 18 average of highs. It has now just barely broken this level of resistance. Looking at this on a 400-minute term time frame, again that line at around the 818 handle against Binance Coin has been taken out. So a decent amount of time within this correctionary move, as when it entered it on 1600 hours, September 17th. Every time it got above or below it, it quickly came back. What I like about this is how I see the line, how it moved up to the 873 handle, obviously pulling back down at least to 818, and it is now continuing its rise thereafter. So there definitely looks to be a potential for more momentum amongst this coin. AppC also against the Bitcoin. This is AppCoins. This is a big level of resistance here that it looks like it might want to try to test and take out at 1232 against Binance. Again, this would look very similar against Bitcoin. But since it originally got there from its move, comes down to the 18, a little bit of a rally, back down again. 18 is maintaining its uptrend on the daily chart for such an event. This is almost like a double bottom formation that it's holding this key level as well. But breaking out above this resistance point means that you can get back to this congestion area probably at about the 15 or 16 handle. Cyber Miles, or CMT, against Binance Coin. Since this low in August, it established this level of resistance at 1250, but it's been moving sideways ever since, and it's been showing a lot of strength lately amongst the 18 of highs. Ethereum has been in a downtrend, but we can see here it got out above the 18 average of highs, settled back in within the 18 average, and this is day number 5 within such, but it's looking pretty. It stopped the downtrend anyway. On the 400-minute term time frame, this most recent period. This is relatively new, I think. Yeah, it's but we can see the breakout happened past this level of short-term resistance, and it's hanging in there so far. It hasn't pulled back lower yet anyway. Theta on the daily time frame, it's not really showing any strength. It's just really hanging in within this neutral range, but it obviously has stopped this most recent down move. Here we have Arion on the daily term time frame. A lot of resistance here about the 6,000 Satoshi handle mark, but it's been showing a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs for quite some time, so it's got a pretty good setup as far as I'm concerned. As far as the Loom network is concerned, it's had two hits at around a little over the 1,000 Satoshi mark, and it's been going sideways for quite some time. It had a small noticeable, not noticeable though, September 27th green candle up move, but 2 days of just hanging in there. That's basically finding support amongst the resistance from September 21st, September 22nd, 18 average starting to rise. And also one of the things I'd like to look at is this was most clearly a failed breakout in here. Oftentimes from failed moves, fast moves to the downside, and I do not really count that as a fast move. So more times than not that happens, but not this time. And because of such, that's a failed setup could oftentimes, to me, notice fast moves in the opposite direction. So a failed setup stating this market should be going lower here did not. So I'll be interested to see if this has a good push soon as well. Stratus network against Bitcoin is in at 24,000 Satoshi. You know, I like how this is showing its move amongst the 18 average of highs. This is about a week, 6-7 days periods where it is showing strength amongst the 18 average. And that's key level of resistance where it is at now, which was hit here, in here. And then, of course, another one at about 29,000 as its next key level. Omi's Go showing no bullish setup. It's been sideways for quite some time after it had its water slide move lower. It stopped in here for a little bit of a sideways move, small leg lower, continuing it, and its price action at 54,000 represents a decline of about 4x from its April Fool's highs. Ethereum Classic ETC. Interesting, I put these lines in a long time ago, and how it found 3 times hit at this level. Really nothing to state that this is in a bull market. In fact, it's just barely turning this sideways from this down move. a lot of amazing choppy moves in the buy low, sell high strategy when you have these U and V shaped formations. A nice, fine looking coin, but it's obviously not showing any strength right now. Dash was one of the ones with the early movers as it came down and had a beautiful rally from the 200 handle up to about over the 300 handle, now in at 289. Not holding in too well as it has been showing now 4 or so periods of weakness amongst the 18 average of lows, but it has managed to hold this rally very well so far, as it has been nowhere near this previous level, but these movements are just tremendous. And when you see a spot where it goes from like, well, this down to here, huge down move, you got this little rally, you've established a huge resistance field here at about the 315, 325, 330 handle, that if you start to see momentum getting out past this, then if I'm seeing this at 337, I'm going to be expecting it to go even further, probably into the 400s even, if it does break this resistance. Furthermore, breaking down below any of this short-term support, I'd be looking for support at this most previous low at about the 256 handle. Verge, next on the list, has had its water slide move, and it's completed its downtrend, but merely just going sideways above the 18 average at the end of August, then declines below it, back up to it, above it, back in it again, and it's just hanging in there right now within the 18. DGB had its solo move. June this is what altcoins were going down. This one was going up, and it's been in a correctionary move down, but really just hanging in there going sideways for the most part. So really showing nothing to indicate that it's going up, but a lot of the coins to me are either showing good setups higher or neutrality. Here's Icon, at least against, this is crossed against Binance coin because that's where I trade this particular cross against, and it's just hanging in there, really not doing too much. Nebulous had a decent rally from 11 handle to the 22 handle against Binance. Settled in here, but obviously didn't hold leg lower. Now it's settling in within the 18. It has done so for about a little over a week. Again, you're in these sideways ranges. If this is all you're looking at, there's no way of telling what the next significant move is going to be. And I realize if it breaks above this resistance, it's probably going to test at least into this previous congestion area between 16 and 18. And if it breaks down below this low, I'd be expecting it to reach its previous low at about the 115 handle. Next up is Populous, PPT. And I mean, this day here, if you had Supreme sick buy orders in, congratulations on June the 7th. The only real trades of note for selling lately came in here. Since then, the water slide is still in place. So this is in a downtrend. However, within the downtrend, it has held for a while amongst the 45.66. It has grinded its way through time back into the 18. But it is due for a rally above the 18 average. And if it does, I'd be expecting its first move to come up to about 58. And I like significant leg lower if it goes down below 45. LISK, LSK is one of my favorites, although not via how much I have in it, but just I like just for trading because I like its movements. When you have this situation where you go from like 23 handle up to 53, back down to 32, it's been in a downtrend, big time. And will this level be a key area of support? I don't know. It's been showing a lot of weakness within the 18 average of lows. If it gets above the 18, I'd be expecting this to come and probably test its previous high area. If it has a decent sized break below here, anywhere between even 27, as I'd be looking at about a retracement here, but even down to the previous low, it could go down to 23. Let's take a look at this against Bitcoin as well. And it's a similar pattern, the same thing on the daily as well. If we take a look at this on the weekly chart, this is a situation which has had a lot of support amongst this area and a little bit of resistance in here. So it's definitely a lot of weakness that, okay, if this thing breaks down below into here, maybe it could come down and it could lose half of its value very easily if this thing breaks down below it. A lot of red candles. The only green candles it has had since here has been these two. So maybe is it due for a rally? Could be. A lot of times I think when we have situations like we did last December, this thing here was showing a lot of weakness back in here. It had broken down barely below this level of key support. We can see it was between, and I'm referring back to how the market looked back in here. It definitely looked very weak here, like it was going to go way down, but all the coins go up, and this one was no exception as well. So if a situation like that's going to happen again, don't be surprised if this one does the same thing again. Markets go up, down, and if you look at trading, everything you sell up here, or some of it gets bought back. Sell a little bit more, buy a bit more on the way down. Maybe you sell a little bit in here, buy back on the way down. You sell a bunch up here. That's what you've been doing lately, is just been buying it back. So everything that would have been bought back in here could very easily be sold on the way higher. That's why I like this type of coin, because of its up and down movements within the nature of such. Next up is Tron, and Tron was way up at about 1,000 Satoshi. Now it's at 333. It's been, after its water slide move lower, it's been going sideways with a range of about 278 through that of 384. Cardano, this is a spot where decent up and down volatility. But since this rally in here, it's found some support amongst the 18 average of highs. A lot of resistance, and this is against the Binance coin, but in this case, a lot of resistance between 875 and 900. And if it can get past that, then just like this leg higher was a gain of like, well, about 30%. Maybe it can do the same thing again, but 30% isn't overall that much. And then from this case, it went from 260 down to, we'll say 68. So that's about a 4x loss overall. And like that's been the case for all of the coins, especially since the May highs, because since May, and really since January, all of these coins have been in a downtrend, very much due for a rally in my opinion. Next up is Litecoin against Bitcoin. This is the only one I'll show for Litecoin. I know I trade all different crosses amongst such, but I like how it's showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs after a long water slide move lower. Next up is Binance coin against Bitcoin, and it's just hanging in there, not doing anything. The next coin, that would be Cloak. And you hit this low in here in August, then again in September, establishing resistance, I guess you could say between 38,000 up to 42. But this is period number 5, showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs. We can see how it's starting to rise very nicely. So I'm very optimistic that this thing can have a decent leg higher soon. ZEC, Zcash, well, it had a decent sized rally after a long downtrend. And what was 1, 2, 3, 4 or so days just chopping around under the 5th within this newly rising 18 average. Established has been well established at about the 22 handle. Komodo has been also in a major downtrend as well. A little bit of this failed rally in here. Maybe a fast move lower considering it did pierce below this mark, but since this low has managed to show a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs. But I like the last 2-3 periods in itself. We can see the 18 rising very nicely. Resistance established at about the 18.2 mark. It's already gotten above it in today's session and yesterday's one. And therefore, I'll be looking for a good chance that this could have a possible push higher. Meaning, the chances of a large green candle or a decent move over the next 3 or 4 periods is a lot higher when I'm seeing a pattern like this than most of the others. And that's one way that I look at it. Probability odds better for such an event, and the event is a very good rally or a leg higher. Next up is Horizon or Zen. And 4 or 5 days showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs. Interesting day here. Good time to sell. Buyback, of course. So we had a lot of decent resistance here at about the 219. Again, this is against Binance Coin, but as we've seen with the Binance Bitcoin pairings right now, they're pretty much the same at this stage. And when trading this, if you get a situation where Binance Coin goes up on its own really, really nicely, then these coins are going to go down. And that's what I want. And I want to buy when Binance Coin has a good rally. If Binance Coin sells off really big to itself, then this is going to go up really, really high because of the weakness amongst the base currency. If there's situations where, say, Binance Coin goes down big and so do the pairings like, say, Zen, then I'll usually buy some Zen against Bitcoin. And in a situation where, say, both Zen and the coins you're trading with go up big, much more than Bitcoin, then I'd be more likely to sell some of what I'm trading against Bitcoin. But I like the idea of trading it against this because I think Binance Coin is probably going to have a decent size move if all the coins go as well in the upside. But yeah, within the horizon, I like the last 4 days amongst the 18 highs. Here's Vertcoin, VTC, just hanging in there, going sideways. So if you're trying to find coins that haven't had its move, we see Ripple and Dash have had a little bit of one. This is one of many that, well, it hasn't had any decent rally as of yet. But we can see here just before July, this thing goes from 12,000 up to 26. I mean, it gives it all back, but it gives you opportunity for decent sell orders to get filled and then buy orders again. And then everything you bought in here, well, you're losing. If you bought back at like 14,000, now it's at 10,000. That means more buying to occur, at least for me down in here. I haven't traded this in a while. I didn't even get in on it. Did I get in on any of this on? I must have gotten something on September 25th. But no, I don't think so. My last trade was September 11th at the 10 handle. So right in here. I would have sold up here, bought down there. So basically, I'm looking to sell higher than 11.8. Decred, another coin that I like that I'm playing. And all these coins that I'm showing are ones that I'm personally involved with. This is merely going sideways, but look at the 18 average, and I'm not really talking about the 2 periods showing strength, but this is really crunching in with microscopic volatility. Polymath, this one here, spending a few periods amongst the 18 average of highs, so I like seeing its pattern. Again, this is against Binance Coin, but nice little setup in here. EOS, also against Binance Coin, has established a major level of resistance at about the 59 handle. Right now at 57, but all of these higher lows that have come into play really do like this setup right now, especially if it can get, if you see it at like say 6, in this case, just a little bit above the key resistance, I expect to have a decent leg higher. Its previous high is at about 72 on the Binance Coin. QTUM is next, and it's been in a big downtrend since the April Fool's high rally, going from $1.69 or 1.69 down to 0.38 right now. The downtrend has stopped over the last little while. Very volatile outside day on September the 23rd, and is just mainly going sideways since that point, breaking it above this level of resistance at about 42. I think this thing can have a decent size leg higher, but an okay setup for this one. Ontology had a big rally at August 13th, going against Binance Coin from 0.12 up to 0.26. Has merely been going sideways with a big level of support at about the 0.177 handle. two levels of resistance, one at about the 21 handle, and again at about 25 too. But overall, after a long downtrend, either you break this support and you're going to maybe make a higher low test at 15 or matching low test at 12. You break out above this resistance, I'd expect it to go in this congestion area, and then breaking out above 26. Maybe you can get at least to the 32 mark, but you expect a decent sized leg whenever you break a key level of either support or resistance. NEO is next, and many days within the 18, showing yesterday it got above the 18 average of highs, hanging in there right now, and decent sized moves overall, especially when you have days like this where you can pick away at a few sell orders in here, buy them back pretty much immediately. Red coin is next, and this one really annoyed me yesterday because I had to delete buy and sell orders because they were in play for 27 days, and they on Bittrex automatically delete orders. So I have a sell order in at 60. I have a buy order in at 48. I've had my sell order in at 60 for about well over a week. So I got decent priority. But because orders automatically get deleted after 28 days, that means some of the orders that I had, like say maybe a sell order at like say 64 or 63, I was every 3 or 4 points. This thing has, and I'll sell at 63, then 66, and maybe 70, 74, so on and so forth. But that means I had, say, if I had a seller at 70, my priority would have been very good, pretty much near the top. And then it's almost being told, oh, by the way, yes, let's just assume like a different example, like you're waiting for concert tickets or something. Yeah, we want to let you know that we haven't been able to get tickets for you, but because you've been waiting for way too long, we're going to put you back at the bottom of the list. I do not like how that's the case, but it is what it is. I cannot trade red coin anywhere else. But within the lines of this range, decent size break from this low, and if it breaks out above this level of resistance, I would expect it to probably test some of this previous support between 69 and 77, and breaking down below this support in here, the line of 48. Previous support has been in at 40 and the low at about 30. Nano is next. I've shown a lot of this before, especially during the August rally where this against Binance, this goes from 0.09 to 0.37, now at 0.22. And just hanging in there, going sideways for the most part. The next coin, that would be Golem, GNT. This thing went from 88 down to 20. So it lost about 4 or 5x from its, well, interesting, this was the late May highs. A lot of markets stopped topping roughly around here. So it had one extra leg higher, meaning anything that you bought down here was able to be sold in here. But when you have these moves, this to me is nothing but markets going lower. If you're just buying in here, you're going to need to fill some of this gap just to get some of those sell orders in. Will it have that possibility to do so? I think it will. Don't know if it's definitely going to. Definitely low in price compared to where it was, but yesterday's session had a breakout above the 18 average of highs, hanging in there right now. It's been going sideways for just a little bit, nothing too exciting. We're going to finish this off very soon. Dent falling down to 23, making a move up to about 58, down to about 34. Now just hanging in there within the 18 average. It spent some time. It's just going sideways, nothing too exciting there. Steam against Binance. This is a market that did make this little breakout here, but hasn't followed through as of yet. It's been in a big downtrend. The one thing I like about Steam is I at least can understand its case use scenario. And I think overall it's going to do well, so that's why I'm hanging on to this coin. And finally, we're going to look at THC. And it's in a most certain downtrend. It's pretty much at its lows. 3 lines in here, 696, 549 represent where I have sell orders. My next buy order is in at 341. I can only trade this on blah 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 Bittrex, so that's why I got the lines in. I don't need to log in unless I see that it hits. But this decent sized rally that it had has failed immediately back to this level. And when we take a look at this even more long term, it's had some wild moves before. This thing went from 230 up to 50,000, so over a 20x move before. So therefore, some areas in which it might test its previous, if it has a decent sized leg lower. For me as a trader at 414, if that hits, I probably already have another buy order in below it, but I'd be looking to go in again at about 320 to 330, maybe 300, and then just keep buying on the way down. And that can get costly, but you're going to get a few trades here and there, because if you're buying these things on the way down during these moves, then you're just going to buy, the value of your coins go down, buy some more, and there's going to be few opportunities to sell, like was the case in here, the case in here, and of course this one in here. And that helps out a little bit. But if the ultimate market, or if the market's going to just continuously go in a bear market, the strategy I talk about is going to be nothing but an overall loser. So in this place in here, this was a decent sized rally, but still nothing compared to, again, places or moves like this. And this is even small in itself. This move went from 800 to about 13, and of course some of the other ones before had much bigger moves, as shown in here. What I like about these markets, and I didn't mean to draw the line there, but what I like about these markets is when it's in the hopes that when they have these big pushes, that I can get intraday trades, or intra-move trades rather. So situations where it comes up to this high at 4,000, so I'd be selling like maybe 12 sellers might go through from, of course, this breakout point. But then I see it goes from 4,000 down to 1,700, which means sell order here, 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 say. And then a lot of those I'll end up buying back in here. That's just fantastic when I get those opportunities. Sell up here, and then it comes back down here. Sell up here. That's really what I'm trying to get, as many of those types of flips as possible myself as a trader. It's been a long video, but overall I think the altcoin markets are showing an interesting pattern that they might be ready for a collective move to the upside relatively soon. The market's obviously going to do what it's going to do, but I'd be enthusiastic and happy if I get bombarded with sell orders because the global market of cryptos go up. Thank you for tuning in to what was a very long video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.